I think especially as Aboriginal artists, our truth is what makes us who we are in our culture and our spirituality. And that truth resonates into the community.
Mob or Jarjum, that's tomorrow's children, because all we do is for them, really. And if they can get these words, get the pronunciation of it correct, they can then start using it in daily life, and they do.
It's relationships between mothers and fathers, between parents and children, between children and their grandparents. It's that deterioration of that family relationship and connection.
Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people can now stand with huge humility and be very proud of who we are and what we are, and the way in which we have survived.
Hello and welcome to Beyond the Boundary Road. I'm Mundanara Bales.
And I'm Fred Leone. For today's interview, education will be the main topic of discussion with our guest.
We have the pleasure of welcoming Todd Phillips to the show. Todd is currently an Indigenous Engagement Advisor at entice, a construction, mining and services company.
He has worked at many schools, universities and communities throughout his career and spoken at numerous international conferences, such as the World Indigenous Peoples Conference. Todd has received many awards for his work, including the Outstanding Achievement in Education presented by former US President Bill Clinton. Welcome to the show, bud.
Yeah, thanks for having me on the show.
Definitely. Can we start off with telling everybody who your mob is and where you come from?
Yeah, so my mob's the Bundjalung people from the far north coast of New South Wales. I also have ties to the Gumbaynggirr people, and I grew up in and around Grafton in the far north coast of New South Wales.
I went down Gumbaynggirr country there late last year. Deadly. So, brothers, you're a successful engagement advisor.
Yeah. You're
enjoying your job. You still get hungry to accomplish more things?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, I'm always stay driven. I work for a national company, like you said, but I'm also starting a PhD at a university in Brisbane, and just always looking to do bigger and better things as part of my role.
Yeah.
At what point, I guess, in your life did you want to step into a role like the one you're in now, that engagement officer role?
Yeah, I've always worked in the Indigenous space around employment and training and education, and I guess I was really fortunate that I got approached by one of the GMs at the company I work for, and he said he's looking to do a whole bunch of stuff in Indigenous employment and training and community engagement and build better relationship and respect within the business. So, he approached me and said this is what he's looking to do, and are you interested? And I said absolutely. So,
yeah. As an Indigenous Australian, what were some of the challenges that you might have faced growing up that you had to overcome to be able to do what you're doing today?
Yeah, well, I guess growing up in country New South Wales, some of the challenges were things like making good decisions. And I had some good role models, but I had some not so good role models. So it's about, making good decisions and, staying positive. I think that's two of the big ones.
And speaking about role models, who were your role models? Can you name a few or tell us?
Some of my role models growing up were my mother, who really instilled that education's important. It'll take you a long way and open a lot of doors. Anthony Mundine, who's a family member of mine from down Bundjalung Way, and he was really persistent in saying that, we need more professionals, we need more black professionals. And another one is a lecturer from Lismore named Noel Blomley, who studied at Harvard University and just done some amazing things in education. So I guess it wasn't so much the sporting role models, it was more the education professional role models.
Hey, so what do you think are some of the best ways to entice kids to want to take part in further education?
Well, I certainly think sport's a big one, but I think we kind of need to move away from the sports enticement and start challenging kids. I think having high expectations and challenging kids to be able to paint them a picture of where they can actually go and where education can take you, and engaging more with community members and role models to make that happen, I think, is a big one.
In that same sentence, Bill Clinton, you met the man, and was involved in some global initiative with him. How did that come about? Tell us a bit about that.
Well, my time at QUT, studying, I was told about an initiative that was happening over in the States, and at my university alone we had over 800 applicants that applied to go to his Global Initiative University. So I applied anyways, and he was looking for people, high achievers in the areas of education and health and housing and medicine. And I applied, and I thought, well, I'm doing some really great stuff with, Indigenous employment and education. Why not give it a go? And applied to get in, and sought some funding from overseas, and I've been involved in the Global Initiative University for quite a while.
How was it? How was it meeting him? What did it feel like?
Well, it was amazing, because at one stage this man was probably one of the most powerful men in the world, and the advice that he gave me about aiming big and dreaming big and go back to Australia and do some incredible stuff with your chosen field, it's life-changing, Yeah. And as part of that, we got to meet some other celebrities that were involved in his university as well. So people like Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie and Lance Armstrong, and just the pull power of his organisation. It's
and you were mixed amongst all those high rollers.
Yeah. Temporarily, I was.
That's all right.
Yeah.
Hey, another big moment in your life was winning the Premier's Award. Now, how did that feel? That would have been something.
Yeah, well, the company I work for, it wasn't me, but I'm part of a team, but we won the Business Queensland Premier's Award for reconciliation and some of the employment and training and cultural awareness initiatives we're doing across the country. So, big honour to meet the Premier of Queensland, and big honour to be, get some recognition for the hard work that we do at the company I work for. So,
too deadly. Going back to education, Toddy, if there was something you could implement, one thing or two things you could implement in the education system to, create better outcomes for Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people, what would it be? What are one or two things? Yeah,
I'd have to say off the top of my head, it'd definitely be embedding Indigenous knowledges in the curriculum, making it mandatory, and high expectations on Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander kids, I think, is a big one. We need to start really ramping up our expectations and creating some real career pathways.
Out of all the students you've worked with over the years, can you give us one example of a success story that was really inspiring to watch?
Yeah, I can't think of one off the top of my head. I can think of several.
Yeah.
From the kid that finished school that I've worked with and taught in schools, to some of the community members that I've done work with through the company I work with and the university, and seeing long-term unemployed young men and women, gain a job and sustain that job and be role models for people in their community. I think I don't think you can distinguish them, but they're all
successful.
They're all successful, but it's really rewarding to see that success.
And what advice would you give to any young fellas that are watching this show in terms of following their dreams or choosing a pathway, a message about education? Yeah,
just that it's important, and it's, I guess, unfortunately there may not be the role models that are out there, that they have direct engagement with, but certainly to take it with both hands, and because you never know where the opportunities will lead you. I think you've really got to take that opportunity and aim high, aim big, dream big, and just go for it, I think is the message.
And just one last question. With university, a lot of our people, it's not that they're afraid of going to university, but it's just not talked about. It's not really common amongst a lot of families to go to university. So for you to go to university and graduate and now do your PhD, how did that feel amongst your family? Yeah, well,
I guess the reward for me was just that I saw two of my sisters now enrolled in university. They saw myself to go to university and complete several degrees, and they see it as attainable. I think that's one of the big things. I think, what holds a lot of Indigenous people back is they don't actually see it, or they don't see success, or don't see something attainable. But certainly for me, I think that's been the rewarding thing for myself, is just seeing people in my direct family that have seen what I've done and thought, I'll have a go at this too and gain success.
And that's what it's all about, inspiring the next generation to step up.
Yeah.
Mum must be very proud of you, Todd.
Oh, I hope so.
Hey, what's coming up in the future for you?
Well, for myself, I'm just continuing to work with the company I work for, doing a whole bunch of stuff across the country with employment, training, career development, and just getting innovative about some of the stuff we're doing, and trying to do first of its kind operations in a lot of the Aboriginal communities where we work.
Too deadly. Well, I guess we should say thank you very much, Todd, for coming on the show and sharing your journey of, where you've been and where you've come to and what you're doing now.
Oh, absolute pleasure. Thanks a lot. Thanks for having me.
Keep on doing the good work and making your people proud.
Thanks a lot.